Horror is thriving in 2025 and 2026. Whether you're into sequels, reboots, or brand new nightmares, there's a ton headed to theaters and streaming. Fans of Final Destination, Megan, I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Conjuring, Predator, Scream, and 28 Days Later have plenty to look forward to with new installments on the way. We're also getting fresh takes on classics like Anaconda, The Toxic Avenger, and The Bride. So let's dive right in. Drop, April 11th, 2025. After making waves with genre-blending hits like Freaky and the Happy Death Day movies, Christopher Landon is back with Drop, a high-stakes thriller produced by Blumhouse. Starring Megan Fahey and Brandon Sklenar, the film follows Violet, a widowed mother whose night takes a terrifying turn when she starts getting anonymous messages threatening her family. The mysterious sender gives her chilling instructions: disobey, and her sister and son will die. Things escalate fast, leading to the ultimate demand: she must kill her date, Henry. Sinners, April 18th, 2025. First, there was De Niro and Scorsese, then DiCaprio and Scorsese. Now, we've got Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. This powerhouse duo has teamed up on Fruitvale Station, Creed, and the Black Panther films, and their winning streak continues with Sinners, an original vampire horror movie. Jordan takes on a dual role as twin vampire brothers who return to their hometown after years away, only to find a dark and powerful evil lurking, set against the backdrop of the Jim Crow era. After tackling major franchises like Rocky and the MCU, Coogler and Jordan diving into an original horror project feels like a breath of fresh air. And with vampires in the mix, horror fans are definitely going to sink their teeth into this one. Also, sink your teeth into great content by becoming a channel member. Enjoy early access to videos and have a say in which movies and shows we cover through exclusive members-only community posts. Your support helps the channel grow, but enough of the shameless plug, let's get back to the good stuff. Until Dawn, April 25th, 2025. Back in 2015, Until Dawn had gaming YouTubers and horror fans hooked. With its cinematic motion capture graphics and a cast that included Rami Malek, Hayden Panettiere, and Jordan Fisher, it felt like a movie you could play, so it's no surprise a film adaptation was bound to happen. Now, Sony Pictures Releasing and PlayStation Studios are bringing Until Dawn to the big screen on April 25th, 2025, just over a decade after the game's release. But don't expect a straight adaptation. This version is taking a different route. While the goal is still to survive Until Dawn, the movie adds a time loop twist, resetting the night after the characters die. It's a bold change, but with Lights Out and Annabelle creation director David F. Sandberg at the helm, there's hope he'll expand the Until Dawn universe in an exciting way. Clown in a Cornfield, May 9th, 2025. With Terrifier 3 dominating the box office and It Welcome to Derry set to hit HBO later this year, clown horror is definitely having a resurgence. Now, another creepy clown is stepping into the spotlight: Friendo, the masked menace from Clown in a Cornfield, Adam Cesar's award-winning horror novel that's now getting a movie adaptation. Cesar co-wrote the screenplay, and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil director Eli Craig is taking the helm. The story unfolds in a struggling Midwestern town where Friendo, once a symbol of better days, returns in a much more terrifying form. Starring Katie Douglas, Kevin Durand, Will Sasso, and Aaron Abrams, this one is shaping up to be a must-watch for horror fans. Final Destination Bloodlines, May 16th, 2025. It's been nearly 15 years since the Final Destination series wrapped up with its jaw-dropping fifth installment in 2011, but the franchise is finally back with Final Destination Bloodlines. Since the first film hit screens in 2000, these movies have kept fans hooked with their signature formula: people cheating death after a premonition, only to be hunted down in elaborate and over-the-top ways as fate catches up. Plot details for Bloodlines are still under wraps, but the script is in good hands with Guy Busick, while Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein landed the director gig in a pretty fitting way by faking their own deaths over Zoom during the pitch. The film stars Raya Kilstead and Breck Basinger, and will also feature the return of horror legend Tony Todd, who we sadly lost last year. Fear Street Prom Queen, May 23, 2025. Netflix made waves in 2021 with Lee Janiak's Fear Street trilogy, bringing R.L. Stine's YA horror books to life with a mix of slasher fun and supernatural chills. Now, the streamer is heading back to Shadyside with a brand new story. This time, the focus is on Christy, played by Ariana Greenblatt, a gutsy outsider caught up in a new nightmare as the school's it girls competing for prom queen start vanishing. Caliber director Matt Palmer is at the helm, with a cast that includes Catherine Waterston, Lily Taylor, and comedy veteran Chris Klein. If the first trilogy was any indication, this should be another wild ride, just with a killer prom twist. Bring Her Back, May 30th, 2025. Danny and Michael Filippo, the minds behind 2022's horror hit Talk to Me, are back with A24 for their next film, Bring Her Back. This one stars Sally Hawkins and follows a brother and sister who stumble upon a terrifying ritual at their new foster mother's secluded home. The teaser trailer, which just dropped in February, teases more of the eerie, nightmarish visuals that made Talk to Me so effective, with hints of supernatural and folk horror vibes. For fans eager to see what the Aussie duo has cooked up next, May can't come soon enough. The Ritual, May 30th, 2025. There's a new exorcism movie dropping just in time for Easter, and it's bringing some serious star power. Al Pacino and horror favorite Dan Stevens are teaming up for The Ritual, a chilling story about two priests, one dealing with a crisis of faith and the other haunted by his past, who must join forces to save a possessed young woman through intense exorcisms. It might sound like a classic setup, but this one's actually based on a true story. According to Variety, the film gives an authentic portrayal of Emma Schmidt, whose real-life possession led to one of the most infamous exorcisms in U.S. history. Pacino is no stranger to demonic horror. He literally played the devil in The Devil's Advocate. He and Stevens will be joined by Ashley Greene and Abigail Cowan, with David Medell directing. 28 years later, June 20th, 2025. There's no denying that 28 Days Later revived the zombie genre in the early 2000s. The Cillian Murphy-led thriller is still a fan favorite, spawning the sequel 28 Weeks Later and years of speculation about a third film. Now, after a long wait, 28 Years Later is finally happening. Hitting theaters in summer 2025, and it's kicking off a whole new trilogy. Director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland are back, but this time with a fresh cast, including Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes. Set nearly 3 decades after the Rage virus outbreak, the story follows a group of survivors on a quarantined island who venture to the mainland only to discover shocking truths about the rest of the world. Megan 2.0, June 27, 2025. Oh, Megan, what a legend you've become. The 2023 sci-fi horror flick about a killer AI doll was a massive hit, winning over critics and audiences alike. Between the success and all the memes, Megan has cemented itself as a new camp horror favorite. So, naturally, a sequel was inevitable, and Megan 2.0 is set to arrive this summer with some serious upgrades. The sequel brings back director Gerard Johnstone, writer Akilah Cooper, and producer Jason Blum, along with returning stars Allison Williams and Violet McGraw. Amy Donald and Jenna Davis are also back as Megan's body and voice, respectively. How exactly the killer doll will make her comeback is still a mystery, but if it means more campy chaos, viral dance moves, and creepy pop song covers, we're all in. I Know What You Did Last Summer, July 18, 2025. The I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise is finally making its big comeback in 2025. While Scream has been thriving in its requel era, it's taken a bit longer for this 90s slasher staple to return. That changes on July 18, 2025, when the currently untitled fourth I Know What You Did Last Summer film hits theaters, bringing back original stars Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. Plot details are still under wraps, but it's expected to follow a storyline similar to the 1998 film, based on Lois Duncan's 1973 novel, where a group of teens are stalked by a hooked killer after a deadly secret comes back to haunt them. Vicious. 8 August 2025. From The Strangers creator Brian Bertino comes Vicious, his first directorial project since 2020's The Dark and the Wicked. Details about the film remain scarce, adding to the suspense as its release approaches. Starring Dakota Fanning, fresh off The Watchers, Vicious follows her character as she finds herself in a life-threatening situation after receiving a mysterious gift from a late-night visitor. Also featuring Katherine Hunter and Rachel Blanchard, the film is produced by Richard Suckle. With Bertino's reputation for crafting unsettling horror and the film's cryptic premise, Vicious has the potential to become a cult favorite. The Toxic Avenger, August 29, 2025. The reboot of the 1984 cult classic The Toxic Avenger premiered at Fantastic Fest in September 2023 before vanishing into distribution limbo. Now, thanks to Cineverse, it finally has a release date. Directed by Macon Blair, this retelling follows the mutated anti-hero wielding his deadly mop. Peter Dinklage stars in the title role, with Kevin Bacon, Jacob Tremblay, and Elijah Wood rounding out the cast. With a mix of schlocky gore, quirky comedy, and practical effects, this one is a must-watch for fans of offbeat horror. The Conjuring Last Rites, September 5, 2025. The Conjuring universe, which quietly became one of the most successful shared cinematic universes, is coming to an end with The Conjuring Last Rites. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga return as Ed and Lorraine Warren in this fourth and final Conjuring film, bringing closure to a franchise that introduced horror icons like Annabelle and Valak. While plot details remain under wraps, filming has wrapped and the movie is still on track for its September release. Saw 11, September 26th. Saw 11 is set to keep the franchise's deadly games going just in time for Halloween. After the surprising success of Saw 10, which many called one of the best in the series, expectations are high for this next installment. Tobin Bell will reprise his role as John Kramer, and Kevin Greutert returns to direct, having previously helmed Saw 6, Saw 3D, and Saw 10. While plot details remain secret, fans can expect more of the signature brutal traps and twisted moral dilemmas. Love it or hate it, Saw 11 is ready to make audiences squirm once again. The Black Phone 2, October 17, 2024. Scott Derrickson knows how to get under people's skin with his horror films, from Sinister to The Black Phone. Kidnapping stories are already terrifying, but throwing in ghostly conversations between the victim and past abductees take things to a whole new level. Ethan Hawke's performance as the Grabber was chilling, and Scott Derrickson even had him go shirtless in one scene to make him seem even more intimidating. Watching Finney try to outsmart his captor kept the tension high the whole time. Not much is known about The Black Phone 2 yet, but fans will be happy to hear that Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, and Ethan Hawke are all coming back. Author Joe Hill, who wrote the original short story, pitched a sequel idea to Derrickson that he called Wonderful. With these two horror pros behind it, the next installment is bound to be just as eerie, if not creepier, than the first. Hell House LLC Lineage, October 2025. Ready to revisit the scares? The Hell House LLC franchise is back for its fifth and possibly final chapter, diving deeper into character backstories while introducing some fresh faces. Unlike the previous four films, Lineage is ditching the found footage style in favor of a more traditional cinematic approach. But don't worry, the horror elements fans love are still intact. Returning cast members include Elizabeth Vermilia, Kayla Barajikian, Victoria Andronic, Gideon Berger, Bridget Rose Perota, Destiny Brown, and James Liddell, plus the franchise's nightmare-inducing clown. Hell House LLC Lineage will hit Shudder just in time for Halloween, making it a perfect addition to your spooky season watch list. Predator Badlands, November 7th, 2025. The Predator franchise is gearing up for its next big hunt with Badlands, though plot details are still under wraps. What we do know? Dan Trachtenberg, who wowed audiences with Prey in 2022, is back in the director's chair, and Elle Fanning is set to star. The biggest buzz, though, is about the film's unique approach. This time, the Predator itself is the main character. Filming recently wrapped in New Zealand, with its stunning landscapes doubling as the alien planet where the action unfolds. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, December 5th, 2025. Five Nights at Freddy's took the internet by storm, growing from an indie horror game into a massive franchise with multiple games, books, and spin-offs. The first movie had a rocky road to production, but the hype was unreal when it finally hit theaters, especially for longtime fans who caught all the Easter eggs and references. One of the biggest wins for the film was its animatronic designs, thanks to the collaboration between Blumhouse and Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Video game horror adaptations can be hit or miss, but seeing Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy come to life in such a faithful way had fans celebrating. Now, with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in the works, speculation is already running wild about which game elements will make it to the big screen. Anaconda, December 25th, 2025. A wild new creature feature is slithering onto the scene, and it's probably not what anyone had on their 2025 horror bingo card: a reboot of Anaconda. Even more surprising, it's coming from Jack Black and Paul Rudd, hitting theaters on Christmas Day. At first, this might seem like a strange duo for a monster movie, but Black has King Kong under his belt, and Rudd knows his way around big-budget action thanks to Ant-Man. From what we know so far, the film has a meta twist. A group of friends, dealing with midlife crises, set out to remake a favorite movie from their youth, only to run into some unexpected dangers, probably including one giant snake. Steve Zahn and Thandie Newton join the cast, with Tom Gormican directing. Soulmate, January 2nd, 2026. Atomic Monster and Blumhouse are teaming up for this new thriller about love, loss, and AI gone wrong. The film follows a man who turns to an AI android to help him cope with his wife's death, but his attempt at creating the perfect companion takes a dark turn when the harmless love bot becomes something far more dangerous. Directed by Kate Dolan, the film is based on a story by James Wan, Ingrid Bisu, and Raphael Jordan, with Dolan rewriting Jordan's original script. She's aiming to explore deep themes of relationships and loneliness, showing that no matter how advanced technology gets, some human struggles remain the same. James Wan and Jason Blum are producing, with Michael Clear and Judson Scott as executive producers. Sounds like a chilling mix of sci-fi and horror. Scream 7, February 27th, 2026. Ghostface is back, and Scream 7 is finally happening. After a long wait filled with production delays, directorial changes, and cast shakeups, the next chapter in the iconic slasher series is officially on track. Kevin Williamson, the original screenwriter, is stepping in to direct, and the film is set to take a fresh direction, moving away from the Sam and Tara Carpenter storyline. Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega won't be returning, but Neve Campbell is back as Sidney Prescott, making her long-awaited return after skipping Scream 6. Fans are buzzing about possible plot twists, including whether Matthew Lillard's Stu Macher could somehow make a comeback. There are also whispers about Patrick Dempsey reprising his role as Detective Mark Kincaid, and Courtney Cox returning as Gale Weathers, though nothing's confirmed yet. With Scream 7 rumored to take inspiration from Jamie Lee Curtis's recent Halloween films, Sidney might finally get the ultimate showdown she deserves. The Bride, March 6th, 2026. Maggie Gyllenhaal is breathing new life into Bride of Frankenstein, bringing the 1935 horror classic into 1930s Chicago with a fresh, socially charged twist. Jessie Buckley stars as the resurrected bride, created by Frankenstein and Dr. Euphronius, whose experiment stirs romance, police scrutiny, and radical change. With an all-star cast featuring Jake Gyllenhaal, Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Peter Sarsgaard, and Annette Bening, this reboot is shaping up to be a major 2025 horror event. Given Gyllenhaal's success with The Lost Daughter, expectations are high for her take on one of horror's most iconic female figures. Mike Flanigan's Exorcist, March 13th, 2026. Mike Flanigan is taking The Exorcist in a new direction with Blumhouse and Morgan Creek after The Exorcist Believer flopped at the box office. Instead of a direct sequel, Flanigan's film will introduce a fresh story within the franchise, making it his fourth Blumhouse project after Oculus, Hush, and Ouija Origin of Evil. He's not just directing, he's also writing and producing, alongside Trevor Macy and John Scherer. Flanigan, a lifelong fan of The Exorcist, is thrilled to put his own spin on the iconic horror, and both Jason Blum and Morgan Creek's David Robinson are hyping up his unique vision. That's all for now, but we want to hear from you. Which upcoming horror movie or reboot are you most excited about? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the latest in movies and TV.